Hi, my name is Sandra Samuels, host of Boss Lady Live, where I come to you every Monday night with experts to discuss issues of crime and violence, love and relationships, health and wellness, various different topics that affect us right here in Jamaica. Please like and share and subscribe. Click on the notification bell to be advised when you're on. See you then.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome again to Boss Lady Live. It's Monday and it's Monday where I bring you, as usual, excellent guests, very informative guests, very entertaining guests with the information that you need. I know a lot of persons don't think that they want information, but information that you need. This evening, like every other evening, we bring you information that is sensitive, right? Sensitive, but also very important. During COVID, a lot has happened. Substance abuse has increased. And so this is one of the very important topics that we must touch on before season 4 ends. This evening, we have 3 wonderful guests. We have Collette Kirlew, we have Lyrris Williams, and Jermaine Finletta. So I'm going to introduce them accordingly, and then we get into our very interesting conversation. So I'm going to introduce Miss Collette Kirlew first. Let me introduce her to you all as my friend first and schoolmate. That's the first thing I need to say. And I honor, when I called Collette, she of course did not hesitate. Not that I expected her to, but she didn't hesitate. And I'm so happy to have her. Last month, actually, was substance abuse or drug awareness month, but our slate was full, so we could not have accommodated them last month. But it's never too late to get information. So this month we kick off the month with substance abuse. So Ms. Collette Kirlew is a director of the Client Services Department at the National Council on Drug Abuse, NCDA, in Jamaica, and has been employed there for over 12 years. She leads a team of 45 members in the implementation of drug prevention and treatment programs island-wide and oversees special projects aimed at reducing drug use and improving the quality of lives of some of the nation's most vulnerable groups. Armed with a master's degree in counseling psychology from the Caribbean Graduate School of Theology, CGST, a bachelor's in business administration in accounts, formal training in pre and post marital counseling, as certified trainer of trainers for the treatment of substance abuse for adults and adolescents, and Jamaica-style parenting. Collette has chosen to be a registered psychotherapist with the Jamaican Psychological Society. Her collective experiences have indelibly shaped her current career in the field of helping profession and her life goal of empowering individuals to choose to live successful and joyous lives. And that's what we're all about here at Boss Lady Live. Then we have Miss Lyrris Williams, a graduate of the esteemed NCU, is the consummate professional, a social worker and counselor with several years of experience working with a wide cross-section of clients, most recently with the NCDA as a substance abuse counselor and over 6 years working as a treatment provider with the KSA Drug Treatment Court. She is a master of case management and evidence-based therapies for individuals with problematic substance use, a dependable colleague and loving relative of missing. If missing, Miss Williams will likely be found taking in the ocean view at the beach. Well, I'm sure you'll be my neighbor because that's my favorite pastime as well. Excuse me. And then last, but by no means least, we have Jermaine Finletta. He's a dub poet, business owner, family, and he's also family oriented, and he's also a recovering addict. So we will hear Jermaine's story later on. And I think he also said he's a Rastafarian. Yes, if I see it here correctly, right? Yes. So he'll tell us more about himself later on. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
It's my pleasure to have you. It's my very esteemed pleasure to have you here on Boss Lady Live. And you know, we our family, because I call them family. Our family will soon come in and ask us questions. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as usual, I like to remind you that the reason why we go live is to encourage you to ask questions, burning questions that you may have, or if you have anything that you want to add and input, also feel free to drop it in the chat. So we'll start with Collette. We'll start with you this evening. Please go ahead.
Hi, everyone.
Just a little bit more about, just a little bit about yourself. I mean, why did you choose this career? I like to find out how people were led to their various different careers. So how were you led to this career, Collette? Let's give us a little overview before you begin.
Let me start from what got me here, because I started business and accounting was my major. So I was an accountant, and then I had a friend who had what we know called problematic drug use, or she was a substance use disorder. And there were other challenges that she had, and she was a Christian, but she could not overcome it. And so it led me to understand the psyche of the human being. So I went and did my master's in it and realized that that's where my calling is. So I'm interested in empowering people. That's my joy, that's my passion, and that's what drives me. How I got to the agency, I saw an ad in the newspaper. I actually saw the ad that they were looking for a project manager for a homeless program or project, and I said, that's not me, I can't manage that. And I got a call that I heard you're looking for a job and they knew, and are you interested? Apply. So I applied and got the position, and that's 12 years ago.
You see, sometimes we're led to where we need to be.
And that's what we're about at the agency. All of us there, I'm sure Lyrris, when she shares our story, we're passionate about helping Jamaica to be the place of choice to live, work, do business, and raise families.
Absolutely.
And my role in that, and that's what I think I'm doing. So that's why I'm there. That's what drives me, and that gives me satisfaction, fulfillment, all of those things.
Yes, yes. All right, so let us just get into it then.
So what I want to share with you, right? And before I start sharing, some of the terms that we're kind of dropping,
yes,
addiction, or calling a person an addict, we're no longer doing that.
Educate us, because we need to know.
So we're calling those persons, somebody who may have problematic drug use, or a substance use disorder. So we're trying to give them back their dignity and the respect that is due to them, because that would have been some of us if we didn't have better coping skills.
Absolutely.
We're not labeling persons anymore. We're understanding
we have a strong support system.
Yes, right. All of those things. So I'm going to share my screen, and I just wanted to give you a little context about what drug use is.
Yes.
All right, so let's do it. All right, so you're seeing my screen now, right? So we're on Boss Lady Live tonight. And we're educating you about substance use in Jamaica. We're going to tell you a little bit about the National Council on Drug Abuse, because some of you may not have a clue about us. and we're going to give you
I don't.
you see, let
Yes.
you understand what the drug situation in Jamaica. How does drug use? What do you mean somebody is progressing into problematic use? We're going to tell you a little bit about that and share
Okay.
some of the treatment centers. So
Okay.
what is NCDA? So National Council on Drug Abuse. That is what NCDA is. Was established in 1983, and we have morphed now. We have had more duties since the inception. But what we do is to conduct and disseminate research information on the prevalence and patterns of drug use. We use
Yes.
that information to guide policymakers. So you hear they're talking about the tobacco legislation. The data is used to drive that as well. And we're talking about
Yes.
alcohol legislation now. And even whenever cannabis one is developed as well, some more, it will guide it. We use it to implement also to guide the evidence-based interventions that we're doing for prevention and treatment. We
Yes.
build the capacity of service providers, and we're and law enforcement officers. We collaborate with other government bodies, ministries, departments, and NGO to make it work. And also we partner with international bodies. We have done a number of research over the years. So I'm not going to go through that, but that's what we do. We get the information, and what we're measuring: consumption patterns. We're looking at prevalence. What proportion of the population use a substance? How often do they do it? Lifetime, meaning have you ever in your lifetime, or in the past year, or past young, or past month rather, or daily? We are concerned about past month and daily use. Intensity of use. Are they binge drinking or is there heavy use? And then we're looking also at incidences. Are there new cases that's happening? What are some of the consequences? We need to investigate that. Is it causing deaths, medical emergency? Does it now develop into problematic use, formerly addiction? Is there crime affiliated with it? And what are the risk factors? So apart from doing quantitative, we also do qualitative research, and we do it to understand the context of what's happening out there. Why are they using? How is the culture influencing that? And as we have Jamian on the team, we bring him in to give the human interest stories.
Right.
And what's the basis? It forms the basis of our prevention responses, because we ask who we're trying to reach. How can we reach you? And then we use that information to design the interventions, especially among the youth. So what is the data showing us? In 2010 to 2017, so 2010 is a blue slide and blue bar, and the orange one is 2017. Current use of alcohol. This is age 13 to 15. Current use was about 52. In 2010, 2017, it dropped down to about 45%. So this is the Global School Health Survey that was conducted in 2017 and 2010. And we're talking about, all right, hide this thing. Drank, how many of them drank that were under 14? And you can see over 80% of them did that, and it's increasing. While current use is going down, the ones that tried using went up, but the related harms now and trouble going down. So really drunk moving from about 35 to about 25, and related trouble moving down from about 20, no, that's 18% down to about 10%. So we see it's moving up and down, but we're still concerned about current use, because children, although it's trending downwards, 45% of them should not be using in the past 30 days. What about the tobacco use? Ever smoked? So we see 2001 is blue, 2006 is red, and 2010 is green. Ever smoke is climbing. You see that? Current cigarette smokers, meaning the cigarette smokers are growing as well, and they're starting to use other tobacco products. So we see increasing trends where that is concerned. When we look at the ever smoked, is 35.5% of them say they ever smoke, and the males are almost matching the females. We look at current smokers, and with current, remember I tell you, so the pattern that we're looking at is current smokers and daily smokers. Those are our daily use, those are the chronic users. So 11.2% of them, so a third of them, continue to smoke. So we want them to stop smoking. We don't want them to start. But 11.2% of the children that we spoke in 2017 said they were current smokers, and they're starting to use e-cigarettes. And you would have seen most of that happening out there. When we look at ganja use now, look at lifetime ganja use, 21.6% used ever in their life, and about half of them continue to use. And we notice that there's a huge disparity now between the males and females using. So the males are using more than the females, and they're using it more in 10th grade. So we assume that it is the teenage years, is experimenting, is the
Mm-hmm.
stress of school, all of those things. And then they claim they have easy access to it. So it doesn't matter what grade they're in. 34% of them in grade 8 shouldn't be saying that I have easy access to ganja or alcohol. So for alcohol, it's 34.8%. For the this is for the 8th grader, 7th and 8th is 17.5%. But generally, they're saying 49% saying I have access to alcohol, and 33.9% say I have access to ganja. So we need to make it not available to them. Why are they using? To relieve stress, to stabilize emotions and moods, to manage grief, loss, and the family dysfunction, the peer pressure. The girls them love it because of what's happening in the home and the community, and the fact that it is glorified. Alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs are glorified here by the people that are the role models and the popular entertainers and the songs. And so we're dancing and drinking and carrying on because the songs. And of course, this is the age and stage, so they're curious and they're experimenting. When we look at the national household prevalence, though, across the country, this was conducted between persons aged 12 to 65. This is lifetime use. The substance most used in the general population is alcohol at 74.8%. The disparity between the adult, the males and females is just a little bit lower compared to cannabis, which is about a third lower, and that came up at 28.3%. 41% for male, 15.8% for females, and then tobacco was 30.3%. So when you look at that, it is alcohol. Ever used in your life, it's alcohol first, tobacco next, then cannabis. But when you go to current use, what you find is that it's alcohol, then ganja, then tobacco. So current use of ganja continues. So if you look at this, it was 28.3% use, 15.8% continue to use, current use. For alcohol, 74.8% use, 42.1% continue to use. So this is current use. So cannabis is more used regularly than tobacco. No, but alcohol is still king, followed by ganja, then tobacco in terms of current use.
Stick a pin right there. Stick
Yes.
a pin right there, Collette. I would say that the alcohol would be the king because alcohol is not really bantered about as a drug.
We don't see it as a drug. So I should have given a definition of what a drug is.
Right.
A drug is anything that alters mood. Coffee, chocolate, sex. We have good drug and bad drug. anything that alters mood, but no, we don't call it sex drug, but anything that alters mood. But certainly persons can be, and I'm going to use the term here, addicted to sex as they are to gambling
Right.
and other things.
Right.
Yeah, but alcohol is more accepted, and it's the social norm is that between birth and death we celebrate and alcohol is used or we mourn. So it's a part
Yes.
of our culture.
Yeah, but I don't hear children being locked up, or not locked up, arrested for drinking underage.
No, it's not the
I
children.
I don't recall hearing about
No,
that.
you're not going to hear
We're
the
starting to hear
children.
them being locked up for, well, I don't know about now, but back in the day for a spliff, or if they get caught with weed. And
So-
certainly they are not caught, if they're caught with cigarettes, they're not locked up either.
No. So who
Oh,
should
not
be
locked up.
locked
I
up?
don't want to use the word locked up.
Who should
Punished
be-
then. Punished.
Okay. Because I was going to say who should be disciplined would be whoever supplied it.
Right.
They are the ones that would be responsible, and the law should arrest and
Who supplies children
criminal
underage,
offense.
because they really should have an ID before they can purchase
Yes.
or acquire.
Absolutely. But you know, we find them being arrested or for that. If they're caught with ganja and they're underage, they're still ticketed and referred to the agency for counseling. Because I think they're recognizing that children that are using should not be using. So it's not a criminal offense. It's certainly something that needs intervention with parents and community to make it
Right.
stop. So I think that's where we will go with it. But
Right.
what is
Okay.
happening now is binge drinking happening in us. Some males report that they binge drink. So what is binge drinking, may I ask? 5
Yes.
or more drinks in a single occasion or outing within the past 2 weeks. So that's for males. For female is 4. So if you sit down with your friends or hanging out every 2 weeks and you drink more, say I'm a female and I drink more than 4 drinks, I'm binge drinking. And if it's a male, it's 5. You're binge drinking.
But isn't that the norm though? When they go to a party, especially those parties, those weekend parties, you buy
And
the
the
drink by the
all-inclusive
bucket,
parties. Yeah.
right? You buy the drink by the bucket because I guess you get a special price,
Mm-hmm.
especially because you have those companies promoting these parties. You have a deal on volume.
Mm-hmm. And the
So,
all-inclusive parties as well.
yes,
A lot of binge drinking is happening. As the data say, 1 in 5 report binge drinking for males, and for females, 1 in 10. The highest binge drinking within the males is between the 35 to 44-year-olds, and they did 1 in 3. Whilst for the females, it's lower, it's 25 to 34 age group, and 1 in 7. So we're doing it. There are 3 women here. Says 1 in 7 of us will do it. So we need 4
right.
more to say we will do it. And for Jamil, am I pronouncing his name right? It will need 4
Jermaine,
men.
Jamian.
Jermaine.
It's
Jamian,
Jamin.
yeah.
Jamin.
Thank you, darling. It would be 1 in 4 of him that would they would say, well, yeah, them reporting binge drinking. But this is a serious concern for us, and that's why the police will test you if you meet in an accident. Should test you. Because it could be that you're driving, and I hope that slide is still in there. Maybe it's not in there because people report that they drive under the influence as well.
Yes.
So what the treatment data shows, persons that were in the treatment facilities between 2013 and 2018 were predominantly males, 92.2% of them. 70% of them were under 30. Majority of them were educated to the secondary level. Almost 50% of them in treatment for ganja, 38% for crack cocaine, and 20% for alcohol. 10% have been arrested in the past year, while 46.6% previously arrested at some point in their life. So it's linked to some crime as well.
When you say it's predominantly male, 92%, does that mean that women tend to not go to the extreme where they need treatment, or it's just that males are the ones that really go all out?
I think I would say the
Why is
latter.
the party so high?
Look at the data. Remember, I told you that I think maybe I said it earlier, males are using more than females. Look at
Yes.
ganja, 26.6% of males use compared to 5.3% for females. For alcohol, 56.6% use compared
Oh,
to
it's really a big difference. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And look at tobacco, 16.8 compared to 5.3. And I think they're more socially protected than the males.
Get you.
So they have more support
Yes.
than the
Because
males.
women have friends where them
Yeah.
talk about them problems. Men don't tend to do that.
So we did an online survey earlier this year or late last year. I think it's earlier this year. We did an online survey to so this can be representative of the general population, like what we just did a while ago. So for those persons that came on and filled out the survey, they said 38.8%. So they were feeling stressed. This is COVID. This is
Right.
related to COVID and drug use. So they were feeling stressed, 36.6. So they were anxious, 34.7. They were worried. They were depressed and distressed. And only 22.4% say, all right, I feel balanced.
Yes.
However, when we ask them about drug use now, about a third, 36.1% said they use psychoactive substances within the past year. Alcohol, tobacco, cannabis, ecstasy, inhalants, non-prescription drugs. So they use it within the past year. The substance, as we see previously, remember this is what we see, was
Yes.
alcohol first, then ganja, then tobacco. But now we're seeing crack cocaine, tranquilizer, stimulants, and opioid pain medication without prescriptions. Those they didn't have the prescription, but
And what falls under stimulants? Like what?
without. So stimulants would be like ecstasy
Okay.
without prescription. So some of them would be what, Lyrris, you can't think of any other, or I get it right? So what we found now, among the third that we're using in the past year, we asked, did you increase your use of it? And 37.5 of them say the ganja use went up, of the ganja smokers. The alcohol users say theirs went up 32.3%. Tobacco went up 25.8%, and crack cocaine 2.3%. So the persons that were using said they had increase in use, and this is a percentage increase that they registered. So their use during the COVID lockdown went up. Why did you increase the use? And this is the number of times people said they increased the use, because the number one thing, stress, them anxious, this isolation, the social isolation, money problems, loneliness, them worrying, them bored, work problems, family problems, them dependent upon it, them curious, and them experimentation. That's why they're using. So when we talk to some secondary school students and say, what happened with you on COVID now? What did it have with you? Beyond the devices and connectivity, that's what was a thing. Them have significant mental health issues. There's home dynamics now. You have abuse, discord, distraction, difficulty adjusting to the online learning, particularly with the numerical subjects. There's social isolation, there's academic failure, there's hopelessness, and lack of opportunities to express themselves. So when we talk about drug use, right, and the impact of it, we talk about psychoactive substances. So anything that acts on the central nervous system, causing alteration in functions that regulate your thoughts, emotions, and behavior. So that's the impact it has on you. Use always involves a degree of risk or adverse effects on different organs and the systems. Many increase the risk of injuries or aggression and unsafe sexual practices. And if you have repeated and prolonged use, it favors the development of dependence disorders that are chronic and recurrent, despite the loss of ability to control your consumption and adverse consequences. So you're going to find them going to follow with everybody. You're going to impact them health, them interpersonal thing, the family, academic, occupational, legal. And then that's when you will diagnose them with such substance use disorders, when all I can think about is chasing down the substance, getting the fix from it, because usually it's to manage their stress.
Right.
We'll hear more from all right, Jamian, or later on.
Yes.
You know. However, there is help, and we can prevent it. We can do early intervention. We can promote recovery, and you'll hear the testimony later. It's treatable, and we can tailor. We have to tailor make or individualize the treatment plan for each person, though. And we can do harm reduction, and it must be maintained, and we must respect their rights. So let me play this little video quickly for you, so you get an understanding of how addiction affects the brain.
Okay.
Say the word addiction, and drugs such as alcohol, heroin, and cocaine
Oops, sorry, I'm trying to turn up the volume. Let me go again.
often come to mind. But other substances like nicotine, marijuana, and prescription pain medications can also be addictive. So can certain activities such as gambling and sex. Whatever the case, addiction involves craving and a loss of control, with the substance use or activity continuing even if it causes harm. This can include problems with relationships, jobs, school, money, or your health. Addiction is not due to weakness or a lack of willpower. Instead, it's a chronic disease involving changes in the brain. There, billions of nerve cells or neurons communicate through a series of signals and chemical messengers. When messages leave one neuron, they attach to a receptor on the receiving one, like a key fitting into a lock. In addiction, this communication process is disrupted. Large amounts of a brain chemical called dopamine are released, overwhelming receptors and resulting in the high that people experience. To keep that feeling going, they take the drug or engage in behavior again and again. Eventually, the brain changes and adapts, driving them to seek out more just to get the same feeling. That's called tolerance. Stopping the substance can cause withdrawal symptoms such as nausea, tremors, depression, or severe anxiety. Taking too much of a substance or a combination of substances can result in an overdose and serious illness, or even death. Young people are especially vulnerable to addiction. The impulse control center of their brains, known as the prefrontal cortex, isn't fully developed, making them more prone to risky behavior. And using substances can cause lasting harm to their developing brains. If you think your child might be experimenting with substances, talk to them about it. Parents can help by taking a strong stand against substance use and teaching their kids healthier ways to deal with life's stresses. Like any other disease, such as diabetes or asthma, addiction can be successfully treated. So if you or someone you know has a problem with addiction, talk to your doctor, a mental health professional, or an addiction specialist. Getting help may save a life.
So our best bet for drug use is to tell them do not use
Right.
until after 25 when the brain is fully developed.
But that kind of difficult because as teenagers, that's what you do. You experiment.
So
But as your mother used to say, I show me a company, I tell you who you are, and I said not normally go. So you have to be just manage your company
that's correct.
who you hang out with.
That is correct. But we also need, because when they know the impact that it will have on them, maybe it slows down the use. Because over the years, when I started at the agency about 12 years ago, the age of initiation for drug use was 11. It's now at 13.
Wow.
So we're pushing it up. We're getting the stories out there. And you saw where the use was trending downwards, except for when they experimented, it was going up. But it's to make sure that even if you try it, you don't continue to use it. So for persons up to 25, if they can at all at possible not use and wait until after the brain is fully developed, especially with the ganja.
Right.
So how we progress into substance use disorder, we start with not using at all, and then we experiment, and then we're going to regular use, then we start misusing, then we're dependent upon it, and it's addiction. And it's now termed a brain disease because it changes how the brain function, and then it becomes uncontrollable. So similar like how you have to treat diabetes and hypertension,
Right.
I want persons to see it in that light. So NCDA defines addiction as a chronic relapsing brain disease that is characterized by compulsive drug seeking and use despite the harmful consequences. And it's because, as I say, because it changes how the brain functions, it changes structure and how it works. And it can be long-lasting and lead to harmful behavior seen in people. So what you have the 3 C's is their compulsive use, them can't control them use, and them continue use despite the adverse consequences. And the factors that influence it, or the drug impact your body is the dose that you take. What age are you? What's your body weight? What's your gender? Because you notice even with the binge drinking, we say 5 for males, 4 for females. The previous knowledge of the drug, when you had it, how did it make you feel? If you didn't feel good, you're not going to take it again. If you have a good experience with it, you're going to do it again. What else is in your body? What's in your stomach? What's your mood? Are you depressed or are you happy? What's the expectation that you have? And what is the environment that you have, that you're in? Was the drug inhaled, injected, orally snorted, or used patch or through the body orifices? So depending on how you get it, it impacts as well how you do it. When you're thinking of comprehensive treatment, you have to do an intake with the client. Then you look at the substance monitoring, we refer them to self-help group. We do continuing care, pharmacotherapy if they need it. We do case management, Lyrris do a lot of that, and behavioral therapy and counseling. But you have to also consider, do they need child services? Do they need vocational services, mental health services? Because usually somebody that has a drug use problem has a co-occurring mental health disorder. They may need medical services because it's going to impact on their body. They may need educational services. It may lead to HIV/AIDS. They may need legal services, financial services, housing, transportation, and family services. So you have to look at the holistic care of the client when they come in for treatment and tailor make something for them to be effective. And then know if we have to refer them to medically managed services like ATSU, addiction treatment services at UWI, or a residential inpatient service, we can do the referral based on the level of care that they require along this continuum of care. So we can early intervention or patient services is what NCDA offers, but some people may need more than that, and we have to do referral for them. So the treatment centers that we have, as I say, is like addiction treatment services at UA. It's usually residential, but because of COVID, it is now an outpatient service, and the patients, they are medically managed. And they also treat dually diagnosed persons. You have Bellevue Hospital, you have most of the major hospitals, King's KPH, Cornwall Regional Mental Health Clinics, psychiatrists, Patricia House. They are now relocating. You have Teen Challenge, so it's residential for mild case. And you have Rice Life, that's outpatient. And of course, the National Council on Drug Abuse. And we're island-wide, and you can call us for help on 564-HELP. That's 564-HELP.
That's mainly for counseling.
That's correct.
Yes.
We want to remind persons that when you quit smoking, within 20 minutes, your heart rate and blood pressure drops. Within 12 hours, your carbon monoxide levels in your blood drops to normal. After a year, your heart disease cut to that of about half that of a non-smoker. Within 10 years, your risk of lung cancer falls, and by 15 years, the risk of heart attack is that of a non-smokers. So it's suited to stop. Sobriety is more than not using. It's creating a new life that supports it. And also, if you treat an individual as if he were what he ought to be and could be, he will become what he ought to be and could be. So let's treat everybody well. And we should be well with that. So I hope I can see where I can stop sharing.
But I think I can just come out. I think this is, just remove it. All right. You're finished?
I finished.
Okay.
You can remove it?
Yes.
Please do.
Yes.
Thank you.
So that was a very comprehensive overview of everything. The stats are alarming, although we are encouraged because there has been some drop in some areas. But we're going to go now to Lyrris, who is one of the counselors, and tell us first of all, there's just a little bit about how you came into this, and then just kind of tell us like what is your experience as it is now with regards to counseling. So what is the term again? Not addicts.
Substance use disorders or persons with problematic drug use.
Problematic drug use. Yes.
Well, good night, everyone. Well, for me, social work chose me. I didn't choose it. And when I finished, I think I was in my final year, Ms. Kirlew, I visited NCDA to collect some pamphlets, I think it was. And shout out to Shireen, because I was inquiring about training. You know, you're a social worker and you're getting into the field and you're ready to go. You want to do all the training. And it just so happened that they were doing training at that time. I think it was a process training on treatment and prevention. And yes, I talk a lot. And so I think that is how I got in. But I just got in by the skin of my teeth, as they say. But I got the opportunity to train with all the counselors that were there. It was like knowledge on top of knowledge, because so many trainers came in, so many persons with a wealth of experience. So the information was rich. And I did that for 22 weeks, I think. a few months, and we came in. I will never forget. I'm always there on that Friday, coming all the way from Mandeville. And then I, went away, and I got a call one day and said, Lyrris, would you consider doing this? And I was like, yes, I'm ready. I'm ready right away. And it's been 6+ years now that I'm here. And I started out, I remember Miss Kirlew was saying to me, Lyrris, just come in and give it all you've got. And man, I've no regrets. I have no regrets. I am here. I'm doing what I love. And
Awesome, and
I,
we want to thank you on behalf of everybody. Because sometimes these jobs are not singled out, and sometimes it's a thankless job. Not thankless within your immediate circle, but thankless in general. Because just think about what the situation would be like without counselors or without persons like Collette, and the different bodies that help to manage. So, we just want to say thanks for doing all that you do.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, I think we have the best job because we see the tears, we see the hardships, but we get to witness change firsthand, and that gives us hope. It keeps us going. So, it's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. So
Give us. I wanna say, like, maybe one of your most memorable experiences.
whew. Wow.
Or
Every
one
year I
that
have a new one.
brings joy, one that brings joy to your heart.
Um, well, I can tell you, I had one client that really did it for me. I mean, all of them are special, and they
Yeah.
call upon us from time to time. But there was this one young man, Alonzo. I can call his name because I know he's cool with it. Um, I remember he came to court and he kept coming. He didn't like it. He didn't think he was supposed to be there, but he kept coming and he kept coming to treatment. And he was wearing one suit of clothes each time, not because it's the only thing he had, but it's the only dress shirt kind of thing and he would, whether he could have it ironed or not, he would be there in his tie, whether it matched or not. He just had he had a drive about him. He was just hungry to learn. And even when he got frustrated, everything, and he frustrated all of us, I can tell you, we all had our experiences. He kept coming. He was just hungry to achieve and accomplish. And I know he's still doing it. Um, Eventually, he walked all the way to I think it's Operation Friendship at the time to register himself. We didn't have financial support at the time, and he couldn't wait for us to get it. He walked and he got registered. He came in because
What challenge was he having?
oh boy, he had a lot of challenges. His his house got burnt out. He had to drop out of school. Um, you know, it was so much. It was so much. And the support was there, but it was only to a point.
Point,
And
right.
but he motivated us to do better for him. And I think that was in the early days when I just started, and I thought I didn't know if I was making an impact, but he showed me that as long as he shows up and I show up, we will
Right.
get there. And we just kept going. And he's completed his associates at Excelsior. He completed all the levels of electrical engineering at Hart before. And
Wonderful.
then during COVID, when he wasn't able to do any of what he studied, he went to Garmex and he did. He's now a tailor, so he just keeps going and going, and it doesn't matter if he's getting the help or not. He's gonna keep trying, and I
Yes.
think that was he is one of those clients that stands out and will always keep shining, and from afar we'll always keep
Are
encouraging
people
him.
are people generally referred to you, or they come in on their own? How does it work exactly? Let's say
Okay,
I had a
so
friend who was had a challenge with substance abuse, trying to get the person to get counseling or to stop using. How can I, as a friend or a relative, get that person into
To come in.
right to come in if they don't
Well,
want to, or is it, do they have to as an adult, if it's not a minor, do they have to check themselves in?
well, that's what's cool about NCDA. We have
Yes.
so many ways that you can come in. There's so many different programs as well. Um, when it comes to treatment, yes, they can walk in, but we always encourage persons, come with them. They need the support. Change is not easy for anyone.
Mhm.
It's hard to change even a habit. So I would always encourage persons to come in with them. It is voluntary, but sometimes getting them to take that first step is important, because sometimes for us, that very first interview is the one chance we get to reach them. So coming in with them gives them just that knowledge that they're supported,
Mhm.
and it really, really helps them to stay in. We have persons who have been thinking about coming forever, and we're now having to reach them by phone in an effort for them to actually come in. So when it comes to addiction, support is key, because it's not something that's easy. It's not something that they can just get over just like that. They're going to need support. And as Ms. Kirlew says, case management is how we always work with the family in case management to get them to be a part of the treatment process. But they can walk in, they can be referred. I remember a mother calling in and making the referral, and making the appointment for her son.
Mhm.
We've had friends who come in with so we get a variety of calls that come in. Once you call that helpline, that person, no matter where they are across the island, they're going to be assigned to an officer or a treatment counselor, and we're going to try and reach them. So you can walk in. You can be referred from probations, from schools, churches,
Okay.
medical doctors. It doesn't matter who you can be referred to, but you can walk in and you can take your friend in. Yes.
Can I just add to that that
Yes.
we have drug treatment court. So this is an
Yes.
alternative to incarceration. And that's
Yes.
how Jamian came into the system too. It's an alternative to incarceration. So when you're caught in an offense that's a minor offense, and it is because of your drug use that you were convicted, then you have an opportunity for therapeutic jurisprudence to get rehabilitation and treatment,
Great.
and your records will not reflect that crime at all if you complete it. We also have
Right.
child diversion from the Ministry of Justice now, where they're sending children to us or young persons to us for treatment. So when they do the case management and they realize the person needs drug treatment, they're referred to us. Probation send clients to us. The court system generally send clients to us too. Are trying to make workplaces, schools,
Yes.
Yes.
schools,
Cool.
Yes,
back
I was getting to schools. So
Yes.
schools, what is your involvement in schools? I mean, let's say for argument's sake, on a yearly basis, do schools have interventions? Do school do teach about drug, well, not drug use, but they talk about
yes.
yes,
So what happened is that we remember at the beginning I also said we use the data to drive our prevention and treatment programs. So we're in
yes.
schools doing prevention from grade 1 up to university doing prevention. We're doing it at the community level as well. So what we do each year, each officer decide on 2 communities they're going to target, and they bombard that community with all our prevention and treatment programs. So they're empowering the community members to come up with prevention programs to protect the children and all of that. So we're doing prevention there, we're doing treatment within the community, and we offer the services, as Lyrris said, to all and sundry.
Right.
And it is FREE, free of
Free.
cost.
Yes,
How do
yes.
you get funding?
Government.
Rastafari.
Okay, okay.
Fund.
Now, for example, I know. Well,
Eh?
No,
I've had a
no, no. We
situation.
get
Can
donations
you
from
know
West.
about good? I don't even look if it's sitting on the
Jamaica.
box with
Just a
the
moment.
normal box.
Hold on,
Jermaine,
hold on. I alright. I'll
Jermaine.
mute him.
Yeah.
I'll mute him. Yeah.
So we get
Okay.
funding from government. That's our primary source of funding. But
Mm-hmm.
it's not enough to do all that we would like to do. So like for
Right.
Lyrris' program, Drug Treatment Court, we have an association of friends and families of substance
Substance abuse.
users. We have kind persons. We will write to a lot of agencies and companies, and they give us items to stock like Lyrris food pantry or money
Yeah.
so we can do graduation. And anybody that's listening out there that want to partner with us to fight this, please join us. But we have some great hearts out there. Not
Yes.
enough, still need
Mhm.
more, but a lot of persons will help us. But 95%, and sometimes we write projects, 95% of the money comes from government. And sometimes we write projects and get other funding sources.
Okay. All right. So, for example, I had a young lady that I employed, and she was. I mean, when you come in the morning, you smell the weed. I talked to her about it. And she pretty much confessed and said, it's something that she's been a long time from she's 16 years old. And it's like she's trying to stop, but she can't stop. What I eventually found out that both her parents smoke. What happens in a situation like that? I mean, yes, she was an adult by now, but from she was in her early teens, I'm sure before, she only told me 15, 16, but I'm sure probably she started from early because both her parents smoked. So what does one do in a case like that?
Well, we have, Miss Kirlew, do you want me to say this one? We have two ways that we can help. First of all, you can encourage her to come in on her own. But as a workplace, as an employer, you can engage in terms of making it a workplace intervention. Sometimes you send them for testing, for counseling, or put together a workplace plan, because when they're smoking and they're using, they have to take time out to go and smoke and to use, and that takes away from their duties. When you add it all up, sometimes hours, 2 hours, sometimes for the day, they're out. So it helps if workplaces or employers would embody our workplace intervention plan
Yeah, but
and put these things
I
in
was
place.
more looking at it from before that. I mean, is there any, does the parents,
So parenting is a risk factor. And part
yeah,
of
because I'm
prevention
saying,
intervention is to
let's
have.
say this was school. I wasn't her employer. She was actually at school. Because if she's using from she's in her early teens,
Yes.
therefore she was under some parental guidance. And if the parental guidance is not there, how is there an intervention with regards to the parents? Because this is what she's telling me now, that both her parents smoke weed. So
We do family
where do you go
intervention
from
as
there?
well.
And,
So we do family
and usually,
yeah. Go ahead, Lyrris.
yes, and usually the guidance counselors, the deans of discipline, they're the ones who make referrals, or even the teacher. So it's usually just based off referrals for them to come in, whether it is for a drug test, or so it's usually at that level that the intervention happens. But as Ms. Kirlew said earlier, sometimes you don't even notice that females are using. It's easier to recognize in the males than the females. So maybe that intervention, because I know of persons who their parents didn't know that they were smoking or using, even though their parents smoked and they used. So it
No,
depends on whether or not it was known. And then for some communities, it's the norm.
it is the norm.
So it depends on who is around to make that referral or
Yeah.
give, expose them to that information.
So
But
there is
once
no
they
kind
are,
of
there are referrals.
Right,
is
so
not
you're going
concerned.
to have the parenting intervention. So usually when children come to us and they're using, we investigate the parents as well. And if
Right.
the parents are using, because I usually get the history, then we bring them in and we do family intervention with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Get
So
you.
we're doing it, as Lyrris say, it's in the school, at the school level as well. So the guidance counselors, the deans of disciplines are there intervening as well as us. And we might get the parenting commission involved as well. Part of our intervention is having parenting sessions with, no, what you call lighthouse again? Parent class.
Lighthouse.
Family,
Lighthouse.
family empowerment session, not just counseling, but we're teaching them skills so they can communicate better and bond better with their children and set the boundaries and the rules, because oftentimes they don't have boundaries, which is why that happens. And as you say, a risk factor is the parents using, the community using, and the community glorify the use of it.
All right. So before I go to Jermaine, I just want to, we wanted to speak to the elephant in the room. The fact that many persons don't think that weed is a drug. That is a Jamaican thing. So let us talk. How do you navigate that as a dealing with Jamaicans, thinking, well, not thinking, many Jamaicans, especially Rastafarians, some persons say it make them whole of meds, in the musicians, it give them a vibes, so forth and so on, but they don't see it as a dangerous drug. So how does one approach speaking to youngsters about ganja when it's the norm, everybody upon the corner have a spliff and a whole of meds kind of thing?
Remember the definition of drug use,
Yeah,
or the
but
definition of drug is anything that alters.
It's easy for us to say because we are not in that setting. But when you are going to try to convince me that ganja is a drug, and everybody I know, almost everybody I know, pan the corner, smoke weed.
Yes, but it is a drug. It is a drug.
So
It alters your body. It gives you that irie feeling. It alters. We know this.
Yes.
So what we're doing
We know this.
differently at NCD as well is we have launched a campaign called Good Ganja Sense.
Good what?
Good Ganja
Good
Sense.
ganja sense.
Okay.
So we have a website, goodganjasense.org. And what it is aimed at doing is increasing ganja literacy.
Okay, great.
So we find that there is a lot of misconceptions out there. We are never promoting use among youth at all. And what we're saying for adults, if you're using, get the information. We support medicinal use. We support research, use for research and development. We support the Rastafarians using, because that's their sacramental plant and scientific purposes. So we support all of that part of it. Smoking ganja is not the most efficient way of using it, but people report positive outcomes from it. But it can cause I think it causes some pulmonary impacts. So lungs and the throat can be impacted by it. So, so we would rather you not smoke it. But people report the benefits. So you hear, say, it made me feel airy, and it made me go in the recreation, the creative side of me, and the lyrics come and the music comes, and we have to respect persons because that's their experience with it. However, we would rather you not smoke it because it's not the most efficient use of it. And if you extract what you need from it and use it other ways, but not the CBD, the THC, which is the psychoactive component in it, but rather use the CBD portion for medicinal use. But it's there, if the website is there, go and explore. We don't want children to use, that's our message. And you see the percentage of them using. We're trying to get into communities. And can I tell you that we all agree, most of the persons that we engage in the Rastafarian communities and even the ganja activists, we all agree that children should not be using.
Yes.
Children meaning up to 16.
I would want to say up to 25, but let me say 18.
Up to 18. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And
Okay. So with that said, let us go now to Jermaine. Jermaine,
Yeah, good night. Good night,
good night.
everyone.
Good night.
Yeah.
As we said earlier, you are recovering or recovered.
Yeah. A recovered addict,
All
marijuana
right.
addict.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all right,
recovery.
let's give us a little background as to what was your lifestyle before. What age did you start using? Why did you start using? What was your choice of drug? That kind of thing. And how old are you
Okay.
now?
Okay. All right. Now I'm 36. Got introduced to drugs, marijuana in 10th grade. I was like 17,
Mm-hmm.
16, 17 that time. Um, it was peer pressure down to 15, wanted to fit in.
Everybody,
So
everybody are
started,
doing.
yeah, everybody had it.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, because of certain influence from music, uh, I use certain slang, so people start calling me Ras. And Ras associated with marijuana smoking and all that. So
Mm-hmm.
when I see my friends them start use it become, because
Mm-hmm.
them don't associate me with that type of lifestyle. It just blend in easily. But I mean, before that, things was going good. I could have feel I was on my natural high, and but start use and over the years, I forgot how that I feel like. So
Mm-hmm.
we get addicted to this artificial eye and forgot about my natural eye. And using I think it's a year in using the marijuana.
Yes.
I started get some adverse effect on it. I was diagnosed as a dually diagnosed person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I get diagnosed as a bipolar.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so
They weren't
through
showing
my
any kind of
continual,
symptoms before.
no, I wasn't sure any kind of symptoms before. So it's like a year after using. So it didn't happen immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, year into it, signs start showing up, and things happen. Get admitted into Bellevue,
Yes.
and throughout time, kind of got in and out because of my addiction problem.
So where was your
A lot
parents
of
at that time, Jermaine? Where were your
my
parents?
parents.
Yes.
Okay.
Or were you living with your parents?
Well, no, I didn't. I wasn't living with my parents. My mother died when I was 10.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I moved and lived with my grandmother. Father was still alive though. Um,
Was he
but
active in your
I
life?
wasn't. Well, he wasn't like 100% there.
Mm-hmm.
But truthfully, I wasn't, under any proper guidance. And I think
So
that's
there
one of
was
the
nobody
biggest
to say,
problem.
don't do this, don't do that. You just rolling
Well,
with
I
your
did,
friends them.
yeah. Well, truthfully, I did have little, but it wasn't like you have some parents or some people who guide the youth and strictly, so the youth can focus more on them schoolwork and do this, do that. Things where kids supposed to do. I didn't
Right.
have that type of guidance. So I get misled. Uh, get caught up in the using, as I said, and throughout the years, in and out, in and out. But I come to a point where I realized that this have a effect on me, and what that I didn't like, and I wanted to change it. but didn't have the strength, didn't know how to. You understand?
Yes.
So I continue have these episode mental breakdown where I go in and out of Bellevue. And each time I come to consciousness, it's like something else got bad because the drugs them inject in my body lead me to get overweight, my pressure go up, certain thing go up. So I have to investigate, I have to do studies now and look on diets and ways to improve on my health. So I
What
started
kind of
doing that.
support system you had, Jermaine? You had any support system at all when you were going through all of this?
Well, yeah, at the initial state, I did, but as time goes by, because of my attitude, my don't care attitude, push away once because I'm get frustrated and I've become an adult and they must if you cannot take and I kind of to somewhat kind of agree with them. I'm not a
Yes.
child anymore and they're trying and I'm not, you know, playing my part to be responsible and my health is my responsibility. So them get frustrated, the health gets, you know, a little bit
Less.
less.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, but I realized my attitude and what's going on in my life. I wanted a change though. So I was trying to
You wanted more
change,
for
and
yourself.
in yeah, I wanted more because my life it seems stagnant. It's not going anywhere, and I continually going to the episode them year after year because um the weed don't trouble me like the first like one puff or two puff or a spliff. It's just over a period of time the build up become great, toxicity in my body become great, so it cause a psychosis effect in my brain, which make me get illusional or delusional.
Right.
Um, yeah, so I wanted to change it. I didn't have the strength to change it until I get introduced to this program. Uh, they show me how to identify triggers
How are you
and
introduced to the program?
oh, I was introduced to the program. Well, it's kind of funny still. I think it's a blessing in disguise. Is one day, let me tell the story. One day, some police came, saw my brother outside in his car, relaxing. They came and started to them approach him away and didn't like it because he felt like he was stereotyped.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he was refusing because they and asking them to show the proper documents or you know do what they're supposed to do. I
Mm-hmm.
saw the whole thing, a whole heap of thing because I just a come out of episode. I was heavily medicated, so my brain process now flow good. But one thing that was going on in my head it was what normally the police are do. Like you see and you probably see it on the news and hear about it that police abuse their authority and that's what was
Mm-hmm.
displaying. So
Mm-hmm.
kind of gets worked up about it and say and tell them that there are some good drunkards and stuff like that. So I got arrested. I got arrested. And that's how I get in the quarantine. I don't
Okay.
want to go into much detail. Yeah, and I get introduced to drug treatment courts, and so as I'm saying, it's like a divine intervention because I was going through a lot. So I wanted change, didn't know how to make that change, and just when I at that time when I wanted that change, this happened. It's no coincidence. It's
Absolutely
definitely
not.
no coincidence.
Divine
Yeah. So
intervention.
yeah. So I got to know how to identify the triggers. And from fellow participants, they also convinced me and showed me that it's possible to overcome the crave because the crave was one of the
They
things
went to
them
like group
usually
meetings.
yeah group meetings and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you saw
So
people who was going through the similar things like
yeah,
you.
similar. Yeah. because I usually try out for my own and find out say my own can go like 23 hours or less without smoking. So it continue make my go back in at the state of breaking down or another episode. Yeah.
Just to add here that in drug treatment court you have to attend. It's voluntary, but you have to attend individual and group sessions weekly.
Yes.
So they had to come in for sessions, and that's where they would interact and learn.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, Jermaine.
Yeah,
Hello?
where was I? Yes, where
Yes,
was
sir.
I again?
Yes, so you were going through the program, so you saw that persons were having similar experiences as you. So it kind of gave you hope.
Yeah. So yeah, it gave me hope. Um that it's possible to overcome the cravings and to get over it.
Yes.
So with that and the teachings, I have learned how to manage my cravings, and here I am now. Feeling good. That the
Mhm.
natural high, that feeling of dopamine flowing through my vein right now. That those hormones that make you feel irie.
Mhm. So
Uh,
how long did it take you to go
it's
through
just a
the program
joyful
and to,
feeling.
to be able to stop smoking? How long did it take
Okay.
you?
Well, it took me a year, about a year and some months or so.
Like a year
Uh,
and 4 months.
yeah, a year and 4 months.
I
Uh,
never look,
but
I never look back, or you buck your toe from time to time.
no, well, at the beginning, my dad bumped me to and I stumble. But as time goes by, I think one of the thing them is this. At one point, I raise a bet to one of my family because I could break off it. So I raise a bet to one
Yes.
of my family them, and it caused attention where all of the other rest them start looking and I start hear them comments and them thoughts about me being addicted. I feel so they just say I can't do it, and through over the years, them see I'm dog, me nah manage that, and them a say I can't do it. And hearing them thoughts openly really struck some nerves in me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that just say, what you show me, son? I say I'm weak. I never hear it before, but I
Mm-hmm.
know so them probably that think it still now, but I never heard it like that. So that really give me that drive there for sure them otherwise. So
Mm-hmm.
I have the strength and the willpower to do this. And that just work um hand in hand with the program also.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So
And
Jermaine, so you go back. Did you go back to your community after you became clean and try to convince your friends about the dangers of
well they
smoking?
they
Or you just
they're
leave it alone?
now say since I've been introduced and off the smoking of marijuana, I've been talking to relatives and friends about it.
Mhm,
Trying to show them that the benefit of not using, because I know the impact that it have on the body. So I always try to influence them not to use. Them also saw a lifestyle. Some always I show them that say, even though it might not affect you now because of what happened to me, I start looking to people who have similar cases as mine, and
mhm,
some of them these these effects didn't take place till years after. Years after, these effects didn't take place years after. So you can get you can get you can use a substance now, and years after these symptoms start to occur. Just
Right.
like me, even though for them one is a longer time, but as a year after these symptoms start occur inside of me. So I always try to influence them, saying that even though nothing happened to you now, down the line, you don't know what changes might happen in your body, where might make you start get delusional, or
Right.
So I always try to talk to people about it whenever I get the chance.
Yes. I want to thank you for sharing your story with us, because so you're I see where you say you're a family man now, so you have kids of your own now,
No,
or not?
no, I'm not. No, but I have relative that is very disabled, like bedridden, and I'm a key person in helping those persons out, because through my experience, I know what help feels like, needing help
Right,
feels like.
right.
So while others might turn up a blind eye to those who need help, I'm a person who's centered in their life, trying to give aid to them, because I know what it feels like to need help.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jermaine. So, is there anything, Jermaine, that you want to say that I have not brought out? Is there anything personal that you want to say to anybody out there? Um, you know, re substance abuse.
Well, I would just say to anyone out there listening to not use drugs, any form of drugs. It could be marijuana, alcohol, because crack cocaine, these substances can really change your life, not for the better but for the worse. And you might hear DJs or artists glorify these type of lifestyle, but I mean, they might have a more stronger system or body than you, and you might
Everybody's
go
system
use
is
it.
different.
Yeah,
Yes.
just like how some people might smell the pollen of the trees, and that just, you get what I say? Probably
Trigger my
marijuana is a thing where,
sinuses. Trigger
yeah,
my sinuses when some people
yeah,
can smell it and
yeah.
no
Some people
effect
can
at
And
smell
all.
it and
divine.
just, yeah, love the springtime. But
Right.
yeah, while you might take in the marijuana and it might have adverse effect on you. So yeah, I'll advise anyone to not take up that habit. Just leave it alone. Just live on those natural hormones, those dopamines and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So Jermaine, would you say that, you sound like you're like a spiritually drop in every now and again and talk about divine intervention. Do you think that spirituality had anything to do with your recovery, or
Well,
the fact that you had that strength to fight for yourself?
definitely it's a part of it. It's a part of it. Without the creator, I don't think I would be here right now, because in those episodes, a lot of things happen. I will not expound on it,
Mhm.
but a lot of things happen, and looking back, I just not have anything else to say or no other explanation to give, but that it's some form of intervention, divine intervention.
That you give thanks for.
Yeah,
That you
definitely.
are here to live and to be able to talk about it.
Yes, yes, I'm here
It
for a
was.
purpose.
It was. Instead of
Yeah,
it is. Right.
yeah.
Yeah, man. Thank you, Jermaine. That was really awesome. And we are so proud of you. And I want to really thank you for sharing.
And if I
Collette,
if
I
I
Yeah.
may
wanna.
add,
Yeah.
if I may add, I know Jamian makes it sound so easy, But the first 6 months is always the hardest because that's the time that we deal with and we focus on abstinence. The first
Yeah.
1 to 3 months, much less up to 6 months, and drug court is 9 months
Yeah.
usually or more. And after getting to the point of abstinence, you literally have to look about changing your lifestyle. And I know, Jamian, the struggle was real, especially where that is concerned, because weed is on every single corner, you
Every
know.
single corner.
So the coping, it is really hard. We have to teach them how to, so what we call refusal skills, so that even if they're going to hang out, they'll know how to refuse those things. They know friends versus friends who smoke, balancing those influences, and of course, self knowledge had to come in, because if we
Absolutely.
don't build inside, they're not going to last beyond the 9 months after the support is gone. And then we always encourage them to bring persons on board with them who help and support them. And I will never forget his friend saying, if you don't smoke, what was it, Jermaine? $2,000 you would pay every day if you don't smoke, something like that.
Yeah,
And
yeah. That's a bet.
man, his
That's a bet I went in.
his his pocket was burning
Yeah,
him,
yeah.
because he was
Well, my pocket did fat at the end, right? As I didn't turn
exactly,
back.
you know.
Well, motivation
Yeah,
Yeah,
always helps. But Jermaine said something. He was in Bellevue, but
yeah.
but why didn't Bellevue make that connection with your program? How does that work? They're not symbiotic.
Well,
They are not.
no,
okay. Could
they're
I
they're
say something?
referred. Go ahead, Jermaine.
Go ahead, Jermaine.
Well, well, um, for me, still based on what I was observing there,
Yes.
they were just like medicating. I didn't get much counseling. So those kind of stuff kind of push me away from their treatment, because no counseling, just medicating. I'm not like them not realize, like, come to a realization of what I'm going through. Them
Mhm.
just medicate. You have to address, you have to do holistic treatment. You cannot just like medicate people,
Yeah.
like that. You have to address
So
the
you are
mind of the
saying without the
person.
intervention of like a Lyrris, you would still be there on medication.
Sure. Yeah, most definitely.
But can I
And
share? Can I share and add to that, Jameen? Is that I think they recognize that deficit, and one of the things that we did last year within the COVID period as well, I think Lyrris was at the training too, was to train them in how to treat dually diagnosed clients.
Yes.
So the aim, and we have started the discussions with them to come in and do group sessions with the persons there that are dependent. But I think they've been going through some changes as well with leadership and all of that. But that's something that we have started, and I'm sure we will continue. And we will do referrals to them as well as needed. So
Mhm.
they are trying to improve their program deliverable.
Yes.
yeah,
That is very
Okay.
important. You made a
Okay.
very valid point there because and it's similar to the prison systems. If you're taking persons and there is um um
application.
no educating the persons who are coming in, or no rehabilitation or
Mhm.
nothing, then they're going to come back out either worse or the same as they're going. And I doubt if they come out the same. They're more than likely going to come out worse because they're angry at that point.
Yeah,
So these are some of the things. It's I mean, very, very interesting. It opened my eyes quite a bit.
yeah.
So yeah.
And
Um,
I must shout out to NCDA for this, because we have come
yeah.
a far way, Miss Kirlew. When Jamian came to court, I remember the first thing he said to the judge was, "I don't like to take that medication because it doesn't make me feel, and nobody's listening." And I remember, Jamian, if you can recall, the first thing I had to say, when it comes to case management is, I will come down to our center. I will go with you and speak with the psychiatrists and the nurses there, so that you will be engaged and you can talk to them about what's happening, the effects, so that we can either change the medication or address those issues. And that's what he did. And I mean, his treatment adherent, there's no worries. He knows that he can go back now and talk to them if he's having an issue. So, and NCDA really has been intervening, especially with those dual diagnosis cases that we get. We
Right.
have a soft handover when it comes to referral. So we're
Yes.
trying to help bridge that gap until changes come.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Well, this has been a very, very full of education, very educational evening. Collette, is there anything that you wanted to get out, or is there anything that you wanted to get out that we have not touched on before we wrap up? I notice not nobody's really asking any questions. I suppose they are just keen on listening, like myself. You know, Masha and said that, you know, we're really dealing with a very important topic, and the support is key for the children. You know, because without that support, you know, it's like a rudderless ship, pretty much. You know, you definitely need that support and that guidance when kids are young, to tell them about the ills, and because, you know, children are drawn to friends, and you're going to do what your friends are doing. And, you know, everybody working now, you know, parents don't really have much of a time to be micromanaging the children like one time. Well, not now, because, you know, most children are home now. But then, even then, you're not even so sure, you know, what they're exposed to in the home versus being at school, you know. So it is a challenge. Anything that we have not covered?
Yeah, I think we need to remember. Lyrris, you go ahead and then I'll wrap up. And if
Okay,
Jamian,
no problem.
And I want you to tell us where we can, how we can
I
help,
will.
Yes.
how we can help, and where we can find you, contact numbers, and where we can find you.
Sure, no
And
problem.
social media access as well.
Well, two things. One, treatment. It's not about us telling you what to do. It's your goals. It's about where you want to go. It really is about, we're literally here waiting to help you to live your best life. So when you come into treatment, we first ask you what you want to change. What do you want to change? Where do you want to be? And then we work with you to get there. It's not about us telling you where to go.
I think that Lyrris, can you just touch a little bit about on shame? Because I know
Yes.
shame and embarrassment is a huge part of why persons don't come in. Can you just say a little bit about that, so that anybody who out there may be looking at this program and want to brave up and come, you know, just say something about that.
Well, first and foremost, we deal with confidentiality. So you're coming into a safe space. Everybody, I mean, right down to the persons who, or team members who are on the custodial staff, everybody is a part of the treatment process. You're coming into a space where you'll be welcomed from, even the security officers that work with us are a part of the process. So you're going to be okay. You're coming into a safe place. It's pretty private, and you know, we're going to treat you just like we would want to be treated. So feel free to come in. You will always find a welcoming face there. No judgment. Absolutely no judgment. As one of our judges will always say, any one of us could be where you are.
Absolutely.
And matter of fact, you are brave to want to change, because a lot of us are even still trying to change even one single habit. So change comes when you just put one foot in front of the other. So step on in. Who knows? You might just enjoy it. Another thing is social media. You can touch base with us on social media. We have in each parish, if you type in NCDA in Instagram or anywhere, you're gonna see a lot of pages pop up. If you don't want to come in and you want to talk to us over the phone or on those platforms, you can send a message. I know NCDA KSA has a form in our post that you can fill out the form, leave your number. So if you don't want to call in, but you can call our helpline at any time or go on our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter handle. We're here.
Yeah, and our Twitter and the Facebook and IG handle is Drug Free JA as well. So you have the local pages as Lyrris mentioned, but the national page is at Drug Free JA. So you can go on that on IG and Facebook. 564 HELP is our helpline, and you can text or message us or call us. 564-4357 is our helpline. And as
We're
Lyrris
in
said,
3 locations.
we're across the island, we're in every parish, but as Lyrris said, for you to come to us, it takes a lot of courage, and we respect you for doing that, to know that you need help and you're seeking help. So we encourage you to come. We are here to serve you. And NCDA is open for business for you, and our services to you is totally free. So come and get the help you need. We are ready and willing and able to serve you.
And if persons know of persons, they can call and get guidance on how to go about helping their friend or family member.
And I prefer prevention to cure. So I'm saying to the communities, protect our children. Do not sell them alcohol, tobacco, or any drugs, ganja, anything at all. I'm saying to the parents, do not send them to the shop or the guardian to buy those things. Yeah. Do not tell them to go and light the cigarette or the ganja and take it to you, or take the first sip of the drink. It doesn't need to be the thing that you give them as well for initiation into adulthood.
Absolutely.
Model the behavior that you want from the children and go back to the days where the village is raising the child. Let's make Jamaica the place to live. What the GG say, the Governor General of Jamaica said, there's nothing that is wrong with Jamaica.
There's nothing that is wrong with Jamaica that what is right about Jamaica can't fix.
Yes, like that. In other words, what is wrong with Jamaica, we can fix it because we have
absolutely
can do. And we want to make more success story like Jamian, and he was the valedictorian for his drug court. So we commend him for all his efforts, and we're here to walk the journey with him and continue to do so, and continue to make us proud, Jamian. Really proud of you.
Definitely, and
yes, I will definitely.
And just to note, he's a NCDA volunteer, trained NCDA volunteer. So we'll be seeing more of him. He does dub poetry. I don't know if Jamian wants to share one.
Yeah, you want to share your poetry with us today before we go?
But while he's thinking about it, just to say, if anyone out there in corporate Jamaica wants to help or partner with us, feel free to call. We need so much help and helping hands or training, anything at all. We have a long list.
Hire people that have recovered. We would love to offer them some jobs and give them opportunity for learning on the job and for earning.
Yeah, we didn't touch that. I forgot to talk about that. How difficult is it to get persons hired who have a history of drug abuse? Because on the farm, do you have a history of drug abuse? It's there. Yes. So if you do. Some or do you try to do placements?
Which Lyrris you want to tell about? I think some employers, once you tell the truth, they will take you on. Yeah. And I think the best thing to do is to be truthful about it, and to even maybe have the agency do a recommendation for you so they can see you on the journey, and we are walking with you on the journey. But we need more employers to take the risk or the chance. I wouldn't say risk, but to take the chance and give them the opportunity.
Second chance.
Yeah, give them a second chance. They deserve it.
And I mean, the
traumatic things that happened to them, and the drug use is what they used to cope with that event that happened, which is why most of the time they have other comorbid mental health disorders that we mentioned, as Jamian mentioned his own. And some of it is because of the family gene that is passing down.
Right.
And what you find, and that's what happened to him. He smoked and it made it happen. So it would have been a recessive gene and it came out. So
Mhm.
help us to
So,
help us, yeah.
I was to ask that question. Are some people predisposed to drug use?
To
Yes,
mental
so,
health.
yeah, to drug use as well. So if you find if the
Okay.
family
Yes.
uses, then the children sometimes, which you mentioned your
Yes.
yeah. So usually it happens that way. So they're predisposed because of the family use of it, as well as environmental factors. So you talk about nature versus nurture. So the combination of both, it's hard to resist and not use if
Mhm.
the two are there pressuring you. But some people
Yeah,
will not use because of their personality and their characteristics. So
absolutely. Jermaine, any final words? Are you going to give us any taste of the dub poetry?
Okay, okay, all right, all right. I will give you. Let's see. All right. The marijuana drama is a trauma because the fear to live without it is more horrifying, like a category 5 hurricane and not a storm. No tranquility, no karma without the marijuana. And maybe it's a temporary loss or it's the paranoia, but there's a low productivity rate among drug abuser. So, as an addict, I'm sick of being sick, of being in conflict between having a spliff and my lip. No productivity as the day skip. Or doing something more meaningful, of more profit, so in the future I can better manage. So I've made up my mind. The solution, the answer is every morning I repeat this mantra. I'm addiction free, I'm addiction free. I say no to marijuana smoking. I say no to marijuana recreational smoking. I'm addiction free, I'm addiction free. I am a non smoker. Addiction is a crime because I was locked in a cell. This cell have no concrete wall, no iron gate, no water, and the only inmate is self-abuse and self-hate. This prison is called addicted brain self. Self-abuse always a going like a, him other than a prison. Like when him attack, you have to listen. I talk about. It is in the human nature to flirt with danger. Cause all when them say smoking kill and cause cancer. Cigarettes still depend mouth, lip and corner. But him can't go and talk because freedom is what I and I desire. So while I was doing my time, I was doing my mantra. I'm addiction free, I'm addiction free. I say no to marijuana smoking. I say no to marijuana recreational smoking. I'm addiction free, I'm addiction free. I am a non smoker. Yeah, that's it.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Awesome, 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 awesome. Well,
Yes.
Collette, Lyrris, Jermaine, thank you so much. I mean, as you know, this will be posted. I will send you the copy, but this will be posted on YouTube as well as Facebook. And so it is there for persons to get the information, hopefully also get some help. Some corporate people may come in and give you some more help that is well needed, you
yep.
know, and we pray, we continue to pray that God give you strength, both of you, strength and vim and vigor, health, that you can continue your work, your very important work to Jamaica. Because this is for all of us. Because if one is affected, all of us are affected. So we
Absolutely.
just want to say thank you. We appreciate you. We love you. And I wish you all God's richest blessing. Jermaine, keep up the good work. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you also for sharing with persons. Because if you even save one, your work would have been done. So I just want to say thank you. And I wish you all the best in your career, in your dub poetry, in your music. Thank you so much. Next
Thank
week,
you.
friends,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
All right. Yeah.
Next week, same place, same time, 8 p.m. sharp would be our last program for the season. And it will be with me next week. I'll be talking about going into 2022. And I'm going to talk about my life as an entrepreneur and just kind of give you some little steps as to how to get into entrepreneurship and let you know also that it's never ever the right time. So you just have to do what you want to do, when you want to do it, how you want to do it to the best of your ability and with as least risk as possible. So that will be next week. Join me at 8 p.m. sharp, www.youtube.com/The Totally Male. See you next week. Have a great week. God bless. Bye.